Hello, my dear friends. Today is January 26, 2024, in the year of the Lord. This video, I was supposed to upload it yesterday, but I couldn't make it. So I apologize for taking my time until I upload this, but it's been pretty hectic. Last video I uploaded, I actually wanted to give a little bit of explanation between the end of the age and the end of the world, so we may have a better explanation and understanding of this dream that I had, which I am about to share it with you guys. I saw this dream on December 6th, 2023, in the year of the Lord. Very quick. I've mentioned this before, and in a lot of the cases, I usually find myself repeating the same thing over and over again. In a lot of the cases, the Lord will not give me the explanation of prophetic dreams, visions, or messages that I receive, because in a lot of cases, He actually talks to me in parables. And sometimes I understand, sometimes not, and it all depends on the timing. If we are close to the fulfillment, then I will understand, because He will give me the understanding. If we are not, I will receive the word, put it on the side, pray about it, and wait on the time of the Lord. And there is nothing the Lord says from heaven. He releases it, which it states in Isaiah 55 from 8, 9, 10, 11, that it returns to Him void, without fulfilling whatever He releases from heaven. So, coming to the fact that this particular dream that I saw, it was given to me as a confirmation of what I had received as far as prophetic word, what I had seen dreams before or visions, and for the past 12 years plus of what I was waiting for, basically. Because initially, the Lord started dealing with me regarding what is about to come in 2012. Okay, and now I am understanding better, because now is the age, it's the time. My dream actually has three parts in it. Okay, and most of the prophetic dreams the Lord gives me, it's either it was whatever it was in the past, I do see the present and what's going to happen, or it is whatever we have presently and how it's going to roll up, what it's going to go into, how we're going to get into the second phase of what's going to happen, and then the outcome in the future. In this particular situation, this dream actually is 100% of confirmation of the messages, the dreams and the visions that I had in the past, because everything the Lord has given me, it's kind of like unfolding in front of me like a piece of puzzle. Now, my dream that I saw in three parts starts this way. I am seeing myself at a very high place, as if I am at the top. I don't know where I am. I'm just seeing that someone from high up there is showing me down on earth. So I am seeing a very long rectangular building that has three parts in it. It's divided. It's the same building, okay? One long rectangular building, but it was divided in three parts. First part, second part, the third part, all in one building. And then I'm seeing myself, I'm coming down, and I don't see how I come down. All I know is I'm coming down and I'm entering the first part of this rectangular building, the first part of it. Where the first part is, it looks like a school cafeteria. There were a lot of benches where, the kids would sit down and eat, have their lunch. I am sitting a very huge cafeteria area where there were a lot of benches, and there were a lot of people sitting in there in groups, different groups. So I start to walk around, because, I'm just looking at people. Perhaps I was looking for someone, if I would recognize, but all I know is I was browsing and going around, and then I come and sit at this table. But I do see this guy who is sitting kind of like, I come and sit at a bench which was very close to this guy, who comes even closer to me because he wants to have a conversation with me. So I don't know this guy, whoever he is. I don't know. I don't recognize him. he wasn't someone that I knew. Total stranger. That's all I can say. So he just approaches my bench where I was sitting, and he wants to come and talk to me and ask me questions. Now, the thing is, when I was walking around, I was hearing people discuss different things. Some of the groups, 3, 4 people, they were discussing about what was happening, what's going on in the world, how things were unfolding, talking about wars, things were taking place in the, as far as in the government, in communities within their areas, okay? But different groups were talking about different things. And I even heard groups talk about the word of the Lord. Now, when I personally came and I sat at this bench, and this guy came and sat next to me, okay, he came and he wanted to ask me a question. Not that he didn't know, because I am getting the understanding. It's like you know, I am receiving that this guy knows. He just wants to find out what I know. And he asks me, do you know why Peter followed Thomas, the disciples of Jesus? So he asks me why Peter followed Thomas. And I look at him, although I don't know him, he's a total stranger. And I just say, it's because, I stop saying because Thomas knew the truth. But while I'm saying it, the guy starts saying the same words with me. So we actually complete the sentence together, seeing eye to eye and knowing exactly the words we were going to speak. It was strange, but I looked at him and I'm like, it resonated even more with me that he knew. He just wanted to know what I knew, So then he turns around and asks me again, and he says, so Peter told Thomas, I will follow you. And I'm saying it. I will follow you because you know the truth. So this is the disciple Peter telling Thomas that he's going to follow him because Thomas knows the truth. So I'm just mesmerized and so excited that I actually found someone that knows the truth about the word, which is outside of the matrix and the box, more, like a total stranger that I don't even know, but I was excited that he knew what I knew. That's all I know. That's all I remember. So anyway, we were happy. We continued to discuss about the word. And then all of a sudden, I get up and leave. He gets up and leave. We separate our ways. Then I come and enter into the second part of this long rectangular building, which is one whole building, okay? But I entered the second part. Mind you, when I was up there and I was looking down, actually someone from up there was telling me, look down and see this building. So someone was showing me this rectangular building that had 3 parts. And that's when they sent me into to actually live it, experience it, to come down and try to go through the parts so I can experience and live it. Now I enter into the second part, and the second part is very interesting. That's because while I'm walking around, I receive a message that says we need to go inside, indoor, and lock ourselves and be safe because something is about to go down. All right? So I received the message and I look at it and I'm thinking, okay, I better get somewhere safe because I don't want to be outside and, get underfoot and be trampled, basically. In front of me, where I am standing with the phone in my hand that I received the message, I see this camp. It's like a camp. I would say it's like a camp, okay? It had these bars, okay? And it had a wrought iron gate that I was going to go through that gate. Luckily and funny, but that's how the dream is, I have the key. So I'm going in, and this camp is like what I just mentioned with additional barbed wires at the top. Okay? But it's a very safe area once you get in. I am opening the gate, wrought iron gate, with my key, going in, closing the door, the gate behind me, and locking it, and I'm going on the right side. This is exactly how I proceed. And I turn around where I came, because remember I said it's like, bars you can actually see outside. So I'm turning around and I'm just watching outside what's happening, why I received that message. It's kind of like, okay, now that I'm safe, I'm inside, I need to watch what's going on outside. Before I get into the part what was happening outside, I just want to say on my left side, there was this guy who was going frantic. He wanted to get out and he couldn't because he did not have the key. But he was really trying so hard to break down that gate, that door, in order for him to get out. And I'm just watching him. I'm like, basically in my head, I'm thinking, dude, relax. This is temporary. We're just here because there is something is going to happen out there. It's kind of dangerous to be out there. I don't see why you're going so crazy to get out. But this is, I'm thinking in my heart, because I cannot talk to him. There is no divider between me and this guy. We are in basically the same area, but he is on the left side and I am on the right side. He just cannot come to my side and I am not going to his side. Okay, this is how it was. And it's just that he was so close to the gate where I got in. Okay, and he's trying to break to free himself because the situation, he was locked in. I got in with my free will and I had a key. Now I continue to watch outside to see what's happening, and I see very heavy duty military presence. Very heavy military presence. It's like, I don't know what to say. Marines, National Guard, all over the place. Okay, oh, tanks. I was like, what? I'm watching as if somebody watches a movie. I am watching what's happening. Why is this happening? I'm kind of watching. Or where is this going to lead to? But I'm very calm. I'm very quiet. I'm very, I'm not nervous. I'm not getting, I'm not fearing. I'm very calm. I'm just watching, like, out of curiosity, like, whoa, what's happening? What's going on? Like that. So I see this guy coming towards us. He was a Marine wearing in full gear with his artillery and everything else. Okay, like the whole 9 yards for a Marine. Full gear. He had his, helmet, everything. So he's coming towards us and I'm just watching what is he going to do? Because obviously I'm inside, there's the gate and it's locked. He comes, has a key like I do, like I have a key. He opens up the gate and he goes, apprehends that guy who was on the left side in chains, takes him out like a cupcake, pulls him out and just puts him on the side. I'm watching and I just go to the gate. I look at him, instantaneously I recognize him. I look at him and I say, oh my goodness, it's you. It's the same guy who sat with me on that bench discussing the word of the Lord outside of the box. And it's the same guy that we discussed the word, seeing eye to eye and having all this joy in our hearts, the joy of the Holy Spirit and the excitement that we both know the truth. Okay? And I all of a sudden felt very upset, kind of like angry. I was very angry and I told him, why did you not trust me enough to tell me what's going on? Because I felt betrayed, that we knew above and beyond when we were discussing about the word. So that means we were on a different level. We weren't on this regular stage where everybody else just studies the same material, knows the same things. I was on a different level, but so was he. So I'm asking him, Why didn't you trust me enough to tell me what was going on or what's going to happen? And then he looks at me, he apologizes for that, because the face that he had, he kind of had a guilt, but he looked at me, he said, I am sorry, but it had to be this way. That's all he told me. I am sorry, it had to be this way. So when it comes to feeling guilty, that's what he told me. And then he keeps the gate open like this and he tells me, now you can get out. So I'm like, well, I already had the key anyway. But I said, okay, thank you. And I got out and he took that guy. But I see a lot of other minions were arrested, like the bad jujus, you know, the wicked people. Everybody else who had allegiance to Satan have been wrapped up. Bye-bye. They were all taken. You know, a lot of arrests were taking place, my dear friends. A lot, okay? So now I get out and I'm like, okay. I go to the third portion of this long rectangular building. And this is the part where I enter. And directly I go to this, again, long desk that had a book, a royal book that said Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Okay, that's what the book said on that. So now I open and I go through the pages because I'm, you know, looking at the photos. Evidently, that was the royal book for all the kings and the princes of Saudi Arabia. It was the dynasty of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, all the prince and the kings, okay? With their pictures, with their names, with their description, who they were, you know, when did they reign and all that stuff. Now, to my amazement, I come to this page where I see the president of Syria, the Republic of Syria, in that book wearing the same clothes, royal clothes, as the kings and the princes of Saudi Arabia wear. Well, if anybody knows, they know that in Gulf countries, the males do not wear suits. Okay, they don't. They have the Gulf countries, the princes and the kings, they have their own kind of clothes. I believe they call it kuyafa, you know. So, and, you know, they wear those things. But, you know, the colors of the abaya that they wear and the gold sash at the edge, kind of like gold sash that they have, it shows their royalty, that they come from a royal family. But this president of Syria was wearing the same exact clothes like them. So I'm thinking, my dear friends, Syria is a republic. It's not a kingdom, okay? So I'm getting surprised, shocked. What is he doing in the royal book when his country is a republic and a president of a republic country? What is he doing in a book that belongs to a kingdom, the dynasty? Like, that's the ancestral line, basically. But you know what? I can't get an answer. You know, I'm sitting, I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is, whatever. You know, that's what I'm thinking. So I get up and like at the wall, you know, under the wall, there were men standing, and those men were like the prime minister, the defense minister of Syria, all those governmental, personnel. So I go there and I ask them, where is the president of Syria? Because evidently I needed to talk to him. Now, in this particular scene, I have this much documents with me, okay? And all these documents were kind of like this, on a paper clip, you know? I had these documents on a paper clip, and I'm just going and I'm telling them I need to see the president of Syria because I need to talk to him about something very important. You know, I have important documents and important things to discuss with him. So they look at me and they tell me he's not available. So I'm like, okay, but I really need to see him. I'm insisting. I go back and forth 3 times. I'm insisting that I need to talk to him. And then in the end, one of them tells me, why don't you go talk to that little kid over there, that boy who is sitting in front of the door? And there was a door, and that boy was sitting in front of the door. And they tell me because he is the son of the president of Syria. So I'm like, okay. And I look at the boy. The boy is like 10 to 12 years old, and he is very handsome kid. He's sitting in front of the door with a lot of documents in his hand. And I can tell when I went there, like those documents were like high level security, a lot of important information, and it was just in his possession, okay? And he was just going through those paperwork. When I approached him and I said, may I please have a meeting with your father, the president? And he just nods his head like, you know what, he's not available, basically. And I'm like, but I really need to see him, I'm insisting again. And he tells me, he nods his head again. He's not talking. I can't hear his voice. And finally, I actually go by the advice that the governmental personnel told me, that give whatever you have documents and tell him whatever you need to relay to the president. And the son is going to take it to the president. He's going to relay the message. So I finally give in, and I guess I tell him whatever I need to tell him, which I'm not remembering, by the way. The only thing I remember is the documents that I had in my hands. The first page had a lot of writings on it, and it had two stickers. Red sticker on the right side and blue sticker on the red side. So I hand them over my documents and the paperwork, and he takes them, he looks at them, kind of check marks, because he had a board like this that he was check marking, as if he was waiting for people had appointments, and he was kind of checking who came and who didn't come, and whose documents he has and who didn't. So I gave my documents, he kind of had it, check marked it, and he went inside. So basically I woke up knowing that my message got to the president. Now, a lot of you probably thinking, what on earth is this dream all about? I am only going to give you the explanation of whatever concerns you guys. Other than that, I'm going to keep the ones that it's personal to me, and I'm not going to give the explanation for those. Now, first part, somebody's showing me what's the rectangular building, and he's telling me to look at it, and he's sending me down to go. That's God is revealing to me the phases of what it is and what's going to happen, a step by step, in 3 steps. That's why he sent me. That's why he wanted me to experience beforehand. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm entering the first part of the building, and that's when I'm seeing a cafeteria, school cafeteria with a lot of benches, okay? And people were discussing different things. We are currently in a phase of learning about a lot of things. That's why I'm seeing a school cafeteria area where there were benches and people were sitting and discussing about the current events of what was happening in the world. Okay, so different groups were discussing different things, and depending on what they wanted to learn and what they were learning about from each other or from other sources. So it's like a school. We are learning about new things all over again. The Great Awakening, my friends, that's what it was. My case, when I came and I sat, and this guy came and he sat next to me, is the fact that he asked me about Peter. Why did Peter follow Thomas? This is very, very important, my dear friends. I want you to have an open mind. I want you to think about the 7 hills that I've discussed before: the government, the banking, the health and pharmacy, the education, entertainment, religion, and family. I want you to think about that. And this is my portion of it, was the religion aspect of it, which is one of the hills, the 7 hills in Revelation 17. And the guy wanted to see if I know things outside of the matrix. What is the matrix? The matrix is what we've been told, we've been taught all of our lives, across the board. That's what we know. That's what we've been taught about, whether in seminaries, whether in theology, whether through the priests preaching, pastors preaching, doesn't matter. The Matrix taught us whatever they wanted us to learn about the Lord and his truth. But when he's asking me, why did Peter follow Thomas? Because in reality, we know that Peter was the one that always, followed Christ. And even he went to the court where they took Jesus to persecute him. So the point is, in this matrix, in one of the denominations, the Catholic denomination, obviously believes that the chair of Peter is the Pope. The Pope is the chair of Peter, vice versa. Okay, so this is their belief. Now, what I would like to say, and I'm saying it, I'm speaking the truth, and I would like to apologize because this is not in any way, shape, or form to offend you, but the truth is that's not what it is. Okay? Whatever we've been taught, it's not the truth. And that's not what it, when Jesus said, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, they take that statement, passage, and they go by that passage, looking at Peter to be the chair of the Pope. This is exactly what Jesus told me. John 8:12 says, Jesus said, I am the light of the world. Matthew 5:14-15 says, Jesus told us, you are the light of this world. Right? Okay. Does that mean when he told us you are the light of the world, that makes us all Jesus? No. It means we are part of the great light, which is Jesus Christ himself, which I've explained this before. We are sparks of light living in this world, coming from the great light. My dear friends, Peter means rock, and rock is Jesus Christ, okay? And usually the way God works, he will take the weakest link, the weak people. Remember, Jesus said, I did not come for the healthy. I came for the sick. I didn't come for the righteous. I came for sinners. He likes to call the sinners and those who are sick. Okay, and Peter was one of those. So the thing is, he'd like to mold us into his image and likeness, like it says in Romans 8, verse 29 and 30. You know how it is. He calls us, he trains us, justifies us, and then glorifies. That's how it is. But that does not mean that Jesus was saying, Peter, you are the rock, and on you I'm going to build my church. It was just saying that, being part of Christ, the rock, he will build his church. He can take the smallest, the weakest, those sinners who are not righteous, they need that forgiveness of sins, and make them, glorify them, make them into great. Okay, that's the point, which is outside of the matrix, what we have been taught or learned in our lives. This is the first part. That's why he emphasizes 3 times with me about Peter following Thomas. And we all know Thomas's gospel is not part of our Bible. Thomas's gospel consists of 114 sayings that they are gems. You can go find it online and read them. And it should have been included to be part of our word. But it's not. It doesn't matter, because I personally have read every other book that is not part of our Bible. It doesn't matter. No one can tell me what I can read and what I cannot read. If I want to study, I want to study what's not in there and what's included in there. So this is part 1. The part that I am actually seeing myself entering, I'm receiving a message and I'm entering into this camp type of thing where this guy on the left side is going frantic to get out. He doesn't have the key. And I am being on the right side. I have the key, but I'm not leaving because I'm being obedient to the message that I received. And I'm seeing this guy who is a Marine come with the key and open up the gate and apprehend this other guy who was on the left side. It shows that whatever Jesus said, he's separating the sheep from the goats, and everyone who vowed to Satan is being wrapped up. Wrapped up. We are about to get into military operation phase, my dear friends, and we're going to see heavy duty presence of the military on our streets. It's not a bad thing. It's to protect us from the bad guys who've been controlling us for ages and ages with all their 7 heels that I don't want to go into it again. But the fact that I am seeing this guy, recognizing him and asking him, why didn't you tell me, and being upset, it's because there is military undercover presence amongst us, my dear friends. Like when you go out, you don't even know who's military and who's undercover. That's number 1. Number 2, they're monitoring how much people are awake. That's the first phase, where I'm seeing different groups of people. They're monitoring the Great Awakening. That's what it is in the first section. The second section is when I'm getting upset and I'm asking him, why didn't you trust me enough to tell me? It's the fact that there is a plan in place, and it doesn't matter how much we are awake. I am awake, you are awake. It doesn't matter. The plan is the plan, and it cannot get out. No matter how much you're trustworthy or faithful, it can't get out, because the plan must go on exactly how God put in place. And he's using our military to actually execute his plan, okay? So that's why he's telling me it had to be this way. So we're going to see the EBS comes. We're going to see the military on our streets, and we're going to go through a phase of a lockdown. Now, the lockdown could come under another virus broke out. The lockdown could come under the fact that our borders are compromised, and we have a lot of people entering where they're not supposed to be on our soil. And I don't want to go into any further detail, but what I'm saying is the lockdowns are going to come. Me having the key, it means I don't have anything that would trigger for me to be arrested. So out of obedience, I'm there. But the guy who was on the left side, separating the goat from the sheep, that's the guy who didn't have a key and he wanted to get out. So during these lockdowns, there will be people who will be arrested, and those are the ones who vowed to serve Satan. Very clear. I saw it in my dream, and it was happening very gracefully, my dear friends, gracefully, by God's grace. The third phase, where the third part is, which is the third phase of the dream, I'm going into this third part in a room where I'm seeing this royal book, which is the dynasty of the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, with all the kings and the princes pictures in there with their stories. But I'm seeing the president of Republic of Syria in there. That is the fact that we are going to have a wealth transfer. Let me put this now in the beginning. Let me just release this. This is about the wealth transfer. We're going to witness the wealth transfer in the very, 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 very near future. That's number 1. Number 2, Syria joined the BRICS nations. I don't know how many of you know that the BRICS nations was the Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. January 1st, 2024, 5 more nations joined them. And Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates are one of those 2 countries, like both of them joined. And then there is Egypt, Iran, and one more country that it's not, right now I cannot remember. But now, like officially 10 countries. And we all know Saudi Arabia is a very wealthy country. I'd like to say this. Back in September of 2023, I actually watched a speech that bin Salman, which is the Prince of Saudi Arabia, he gave a speech to the leaders of the Arab nations, the Gulf countries, like United Arab Emirates, the Sheikh was there too, and Qatar and everybody else. And his speech said as follows. He was speaking in Arabic. He said that in the next 5 years, the Middle East will be like Europe. That's what he said. And he had this beautiful smile and confidence that we will be. I am taking you there. That's what he said. And I was like, okay. I'm just receiving confirmation from everywhere what's happening with our politics and the geopolitical world, basically. So my point is, Syria joined the BRICS nation. That's why, the president of Syria was actually in that book. Okay. And there is a wealth transfer, which means Syria will be as wealthy as Saudi Arabia and every other nation. And this is going to be something global, my dear friends. And it's coming. Now, the rest of the part I'm not going to get into because that's kind of personal, to me. But I can only tell you that one portion of it represents every single person who holds important documents will be able to go to their own governments where they were born. Let's say maybe you were born in, I don't know, Venezuela. Maybe you were born in Australia. Maybe you were born in Jordan, Amman. Doesn't matter. Wherever you were born, you will be able to have a contact with your own government, even if you migrated, for you to be able to claim what was stolen from you. That's all I can say. The rest of the details I can't get into because it has a lot to do with me. Okay? Now, I just want to say and bring this up before I close my video. In Daniel 12, when he was being given the vision and explanation of the fourth beast, which is the kingdom, the Cabal, the Illuminati, the Babylonian system, the eagle, he was being given about this. He saw the vision. He was never given the interpretation about the fourth kingdom. Okay, and we have that in Daniel 12 verses 9, 10, 12. Because what happens is when he acquires about the interpretation, the answer he receives, go your way, Daniel, go and sleep with your ancestors. When the time comes, you're going to rise and receive your reward. That was the passage. That was the statement he received when he tried to understand the vision and the vision that God gave him. However, in the book of 2nd Esdras, which I quoted from when I was trying to explain about the end of the times and the end of the world, the difference, okay? In 2nd Esdras, chapter 12, we actually find it in verse 10, 11, and 12. When Ezra is also given a vision about the fourth kingdom, now in this time, the angel tells him, this vision was given to your brother Daniel, but the interpretation was never given to him. When the time is not near, you're not going to receive the interpretation. But Ezra received the interpretation, and you guys can feel free to go read it about the fourth kingdom of what the angel gave him as an interpretation. This is the same vision about the fourth beast Daniel saw and Ezra saw, the prophet Ezra. But Daniel was not given the interpretation. Rather, Ezra was given the interpretation. So when we come closer to the times of fulfillment, we're going to receive the interpretation of all the visions and the dreams and whatever else the Lord gives. I will come and drop something very small, probably just to give a better explanation of when the Lord started with me, because I have been receiving little by little since 2010 of what was coming. But I was receiving a little bit more about my own nation, which is Armenia. Okay. So when we came closer, now is the time of fulfillment. Just about 3 years ago, I received a very, very, very detailed prophetic word of what God was about to do. And I was mesmerized. I think my mouth dropped when I was reading the words that the Holy Spirit was allowing me to write. So nothing can stop what is coming. If God chose to deliver us, which he did, we will be delivered, my dear friends. but we are about to enter a very, very dark tunnel. So my advice to all of you, please, please stay rooted in Christ. Stay blessed. Love each other. Have compassion towards one another. And forgive everyone who wronged you. Because by the love and the light you have in your heart, you will be forgiven and be delivered. In the name of Jesus. I love you all with the love of Christ. Until next time, stay blessed.